Hello, my name is Sarah Sloan, and you are listening to The Sarah Sloan Show. Hello, you guys. Welcome back to my little corner. It's a small corner, but it's a happy corner. I'm going to tell you guys right now, so much is happening in the world, but it's fun. And we're going to make it fun and light. Just a little bit of a random note, but lately I've been listening to like Jordan Peterson, and he has like a Genesis series, and like I think there's like 15 episodes of this, and they're each like 3 hours long. I can understand the appeal for this guy. I'm going to keep on listening to more and more of him, and he does have interesting takes on the Bible. You know, it's a different kind of a look at the Bible, a different analysis. You know, I was brought up in the church, and I just hear, you know, the classic, oh, well, you know, here's this story, Noah's Ark, Adam and Eve, but to hear it from this, like, really deep psychologist it's different. And then, of course, he always takes questions at the end, so then that's interesting as well. Yeah, it's through that Daily Wire app, and so if you want to support a group that's doing good things, I guess that's a good way to go. Maybe, who knows? Okay, so last time we talked about the Republican debate, I was not super impressed, and I kind of wanted to talk a little bit more, you know, just about some different things. But there was an Iowa poll that was kind of done afterwards. And it gave some very interesting insight. It still showed that Trump was number one, but it also showed that based on this Iowa poll that Governor Ron DeSantis is inching a little bit closer to Trump. So there were 400 Iowa likely GOP caucus goers. And so basically what happened was, instead of the 14% that DeSantis had been at, boom, now he's at 21% after the debate. I don't know why. I'd like to know their reasoning why. He didn't really move the needle for me. It was pretty much the same. I will say this. I think if I had to vote for somebody right now, if Trump was just out of the picture completely, it would probably be DeSantis. I think I could pretty safely say that. Vivek would probably be number two after DeSantis. It's just, I've seen what DeSantis has been able to do in Florida, and it's been impressive. And so at least he has a proven track record rather than Vivek. Like, it really is a risk. So it's just a little bit harder to want to do that. But yeah, obviously, Trump aside, it was kind of similar in the last presidential election, not the last, but the one before that, the 2016, because I was, you know, like much more on board with like Ted Cruz. And in my mind, Cruz had proven himself through his votes and everything else. And I wasn't really on board with Trump. And of course, Trump wins the nomination. And then I began to really see, oh my gosh, Trump is actually really wonderful. And so yeah, who knows, maybe something similar could happen. But I want Trump to stay in. Poor guy. Sorry, I'm really getting off topic, but you know, he got arrested. He had his mugshot, and very handsome, by the way, a very handsome mugshot. He was like it was last week, like Thursday at like 7:30. And, you know, of course, this is all about the indictment in Georgia that he called the Secretary of State looking for more votes to, you know, or basically, yeah, looking for legal votes looking for illegal votes, and to basically say, hey, you know, Biden didn't actually win. I won. And I know that you can find some illegal votes out there or whatever. And, yeah, so now I think they said, let me just double check this. Trump's weight. They got his weight. And there were all these predictions. 215 pounds. But yeah, a lot of people don't believe that. Apparently, in the past, he's weighed 239. The guy's like 6'3". He's very tall. So, okay, let's get back to what I was talking about with the polls. I was all over the place. You know me. I'm crazy. Trump, he slid a percentage point after the debate. Of course, he wasn't in the debate, but still, he was 42% Then he fell to 41%. Nikki Haley, she saw a bump, basically 3% to 11%. Very impressive for her. Tim Scott, he slid 8% to 7%. Vivek, he actually slid 10% to 7%. And Mike Pence with a strong 2%. Apparently he didn't really, just was what it was. It stayed the same. And then Doug Burgum, which I forgot to say last episode, he right before he had an injury, from basketball, and everybody's like, oh, I guess he's not going to be able to debate, and boom, he shows up there. I forgot to say that. And so Doug Burgum and Chris Christie, they were 3%, and then they went to 1%. So I guess they're like a collective unit now. Doug Christie, Chris Burgum. It is what it is. Asa Hutchinson saw a bump. He got up to 1% because he was below 1%. So, man, this guy, Trump better watch out. He better watch out. It is interesting the way that things kind of change after the debate. And so then that's where you're like, okay, well, should Trump have joined the debate? Because maybe it would be different, or it could be worse. You never know. So, before it was 34% for DeSantis, 51% for Trump. So now things are a little bit different. All right. Lots of interesting implications. So, and then apparently, kind of, there was some drama. Don Jr. and his, I don't know if they're actually married. I think they're just still dating, although they should, if they're not married, they should be. I totally forgot her name. I don't know what's up with me today. Someone help. Lupita, por favor, ayúdame. Okay. She's going to bring the oils. Don Jr.'s girlfriend, who worked on Fox, who's a really wonderful woman. I just cannot remember her name for the life of me. The meds are not helping. And he was trying to get into the spin-over room or whatever it's called, where you're really talking to the candidates and stuff. They wouldn't let them back there. They were really upset. But it makes sense. Unless Trump wanted them in there and he was at the debate himself, they really don't have a place there. So it kind of, it is what it is. And then they were asking him some questions about what Chris Christie was saying about Trump. So I wanted to play that real quick. Don Jr., he stands up for his father. And that's an interesting sign because a lot of men hate their fathers. Not Junior. Not Junior.
Christie saying that your father's too afraid to be on a debate stage with him.
Come on.
Laughable, sophomoric.
It's does anyone really believe that?
No.
Trump gets up with no notes and gives a 2-hour speech in front of tens of thousands of people. You go back to let's go back to the first Republican primary debate in 2016. I don't know, a guy that's never debated. I think he did pretty well. I think a lot of guys that were, it was their turn like it was Hillary's turn, found out the hard way that maybe they weren't as good at what they do as what they thought they were. I think he ended some careers pretty effectively. So, I get that Christie's trying to do his thing to try to get under his skin, but give me a break. Chris Christie left office at a 9% approval rating, so I'm not too worried about anything that Chris Christie has to say.
He handled that pretty well. Kimberly Guilfoyle, it came to me as I was watching Donald Trump Jr. move his lips. It came to me. So she was great on Fox News. I remember her. So at the same time, what was Trump doing? What was Trump doing during the debate? He was speaking with Tucker Carlson on X, Twitter, now X. And they had a really good 45-minute conversation back and forth. I will definitely say Tucker didn't really hit Trump with the hardest questions. It wasn't adversarial in any way. I don't really know that it was supposed to be. A lot of people were disappointed by that, but I was was that supposed to be what it was? Tucker does all kinds of interviews. He's capable of any kind of interview. So I don't really think that was that big of a deal. Now, this was kind of how he started the debate. I wanted to play this clip of the conversation.
You at the Fox News debate tonight in Milwaukee.
Well, a lot of people have been asking me that, and many people said you shouldn't do them, but you see the polls have come out, and I'm leading by 50 and 60 points. And, some of them are at 1 and 0 and 2. And I'm saying, do I sit there for an hour or 2 hours, whatever it's going to be, and get harassed by people that shouldn't even be running for president? Should I be doing that?
Good question. Good question. And so I think that really gives an insight into why he didn't show up to the debate. A lot of people were wondering, and they were like, is he afraid? Is he just getting tired? Does he think it's a waste of time? So essentially it kind of made it sound like, yeah, he does think it's going to be a waste of time. This was such a fascinating interview. I am going to brush over it. I really, I'm not your teacher. Let's pretend I am. I'm going to give you some homework. Watch the conversation. It's on YouTube. Like, you can go to the Daily Caller, and Tucker Carlson interviews Donald Trump on debate night. Great interview. And Tucker's just so good at like mastering who he's speaking to and how to ask him questions and everything else. So there's a plethora of clips I could play. I'm not going to play them all. Okay, here was a good one. This was a little bit about the election being rigged.
It was even worse, but we got many millions.
I do this every time. I told you guys already. I play it 2 times the speed. I've got to stop doing that. Okay, let's try again.
We got millions and millions more votes. It wasn't even a contest. People said, well, what do you think of 20? I said, we did much better. We did. You got to base it on the number of votes. We got many more votes in 20 than we did in 16. But the election was rigged. It was a rigged election. And with COVID, they used COVID to cheat in a lot of different things, and we have so much on it. It's like so easy. But we had judges that didn't want to look. We had people didn't want to get involved. They called he's a conspiracy theorist if you say anything about the election. But I have never seen spirit like there is right now. Even coming down here, just the people on the road that are just absolutely going crazy. And the reason is, I think they like me, and I know they love my policies. I hope they like me too. A lot of people say they don't like me, but they like my policies. I think they like me. But I have never seen spirit like it is right now. And the reason is because crooked Joe Biden is so bad. He's the worst president in the history of our country. I don't think he's going to make it to the gate, but you never know. But he's a corrupt person, so corrupt that I took the name off Hillary. I don't do 2 people at one time. I took the crooked Hillary and I retired the name. That was a good day for her. I bet she was very happy. And I used it for Joe because it's crooked Joe. But Joe is really...
But you don't think he's going to make it to November of 2024?
Well, I think he's worse mentally than he is physically. And physically, he's not exactly a triathlete or any kind of an athlete. You look at him, he can't walk to the helicopter. He walks, he can't lift his feet out of the grass. It's only 2 inches at the White House, right? That's not a lot. But you watch him, and it looks like he's walking on toothpicks. So, and then you see him on the beach where he can't lift a chair. Those chairs are meant to be light, right? They're like 2 ounces. Yeah. You lift them up. He can't lift the chair. He can't walk to the chair. And I don't know what they're doing with the beach. This beach is seeming to play a big role, but they love pictures of him on the beach. I think he looks terrible on the beach. He looks terrible on the beach.
Skinny legs.
Well, he can't walk through the sand. Sand is not that easy to walk through, but when he walks through it, he can't walk through the sand. And there's somebody in there that thinks he looks fabulous at the beach. I think he looks horrible at the beach. Plus, the beach doesn't represent what a president's supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be working. You're supposed to be getting us out of that horrible, horrible war that we're very much involved in with Russia and Ukraine. You could do that.
Oh my gosh, I could listen to him all day. He just... What do the Gen Z say? He pops off like there's no tomorrow. It's just such a fun interview to watch. My sister, she's not even into politics, and she watched it, and she was like, that was really fun to watch. And that's Trump. And he's fun to listen to. He's entertaining. And he actually does what he's supposed to do. And yeah, he's totally right. I'm sorry. I don't care what anybody says. The election was rigged. It was rigged. Listen to me, please. I'm begging you. And then he really understands the optics and how... And we always say, like, oh, okay, what? Is that really a big deal that Biden was at the beach or that he can't walk? Like, is that really that big of a deal? And he understands the way image is does have power. It holds power. Why did Putin respect Trump and not respect Biden? That's interesting. I'm not going to say it's all about image. That's the only reason that he, didn't fight Ukraine whenever Trump was a president and did it whenever Biden was. But you're going to tell me that didn't play any part at all whenever he sees pathetic videos of Biden falling up and down stairs all the time, falling over sandbags, struggling to walk on grass. You're going to tell me that didn't do anything? I think that played a little bit of a part. Like, come on. Who are we joking? Optics are important. And Trump understands that image is powerful. Image is powerful. So that was really fun. And then let's see, here's another one. Oh, yeah. Okay, so this was another part that I found very interesting. All of it is, I'm being biased. Okay.
And they're most of them made in China. For the most part, they're made in China. Germany a little bit, but China. But you look at what's happening to our country, even no voter ID. I mean, why don't they want voter ID? There's only one reason they don't want voter ID, because they want to cheat. I mean, who doesn't want, the Democrat convention, the last one, they had voter ID that was this big. It looked like a prison card, this big on their chest. You walked in, they had your picture, your this, your fingerprint. They had everything. The most incredible voter ID I've ever seen. That was to get into the Democrat National Convention. But to get into vote, if you buy groceries, if you buy practically anything now, you have ID on a card, credit cards or otherwise.
But don't you think it's racist to have to show your ID?
Well, they probably say that. They use anything not to show ID because voter ID is pretty simple. And we could go back, and we should go back to all paper ballots, voter ID, same-day voting. France did it. France had mail-in ballots, and it was terrible. Anytime you have mail-in ballots, you're going to have massive cheating on your elections. Anytime, but not just the presidential election. Anytime you have...
Isn't that the whole point of them? So
yeah.
you can cheat?
Yeah, sure. It's the whole point. That's their whole point. They want to cheat, yeah. They have to cheat because their policies are so bad that if they didn't cheat, they couldn't get elected. Who wants open borders? Who wants high taxes? Who wants high interest rates? Who wants to not be able to use a gas stove or have to drive an electric car, which, you have a 4-hour drive, but the car only goes an hour and a half, so you have to charge it. The happiest moment for somebody in an electric car is the first 10 minutes. In other words, you get it charged, and now for 10 minutes. The unhappiest part is the next hour because you're petrified that you're not going to be found another charger. I'm saying I'm not knocking electric cars, they're fine. But if people want to buy a gasoline car or a hybrids are pretty good actually, but they should be allowed to buy, they don't want to do any of this. So right now...
Once again, I could just listen all day. Captivated. Yeah, why is voter ID racist? Oh, because it's racist against black people to ask for ID. Why? They can't get it, they'll struggle to get it. Why would they struggle to get it? You're saying they're not smart enough to get voter ID like anybody else is? Or are you saying they're like somehow stupid? Black people are stupid? No, it's just like, it's like when you start saying voter ID is racist, ooh, man, you're the racist one for saying that. Anybody can get a voter ID. And what is it? Your driver's license. Everybody can do that. That is so easy to do. And yeah, you better dang show your ID whenever you're voting. Otherwise, what game are we playing? And that game is where Democrats win, Republicans lose, no matter what, even though Biden was literally hidden away from COVID. And whenever he would have an event, there were 20 people watching him versus Trump brought in the masses. They're claiming Biden had 81 million votes. Give me a break. And then, of course, just Trump talking about EVs is just so fun. And he's so right. Yeah, think about this. It takes a bit to charge these cars. And I know that they're getting faster and faster to charge a car. Think of how long it takes to charge your phone. Now you got to charge a car. And say you're waiting around there in a dangerous city for your car to charge. Even at gas stations, things are pretty dangerous. Well, if you're waiting like 20, 30 minutes for your car to charge, someone could attack you. They could get you. Like you're just a sitting duck. And then, yeah, you got to find charging stations all around, and the whole thing is so silly. EVs are the dumbest things ever. Yeah, hybrids are great though, like Trump said. Man, Trump, I guess, is right about everything. Okay. So then there was another one. He spoke about Chris Christie. Okay, let's see. And I felt like it was very interesting information. Because Christie helped him, like he was kind of helping him with debate preparation and stuff like that. And so I think he was kind of doing these favors for Trump. And they kind of had a relationship.
And has been a guy like Chris Christie, a guy left with a 8%, think of it, 8% approval rating in New Jersey. Now he's running for president. And he runs solely on the basis, oh, let's get Trump. He's like a savage maniac. He's like a lunatic. And that's all he talks about. His poll numbers are very, very low. He's about 2%.
What's he like? You know him well.
No, I've been friendly with him over the years, but I couldn't give him a job because I just never trusted him very much. I was just never one of his people that really trusted him. I never gave him the job, and that's one of the reasons he feels so hurt and so betrayed. And I understand that. I really do. I understand it, but I never gave him. You know, he wanted to be different things. He was looking at different elements of the administration, and I decided I didn't want to do it. And now I'm glad I did, because you see, but you know, we had some great people. I had great people. We'll have.
Yeah, so it really shows you like why he's so anti-Trump today. He wanted a job from Trump, and Trump didn't give it to him. He was like, I'm doing all these favors for you. Give me that dang cabinet job. Why can't I work over this administration or this agency? And Trump said, no, I don't really trust you. And as you could see, he was right. Because if you're really loyal, you're going to remain loyal. So come on. Oh, there's so many topics. It's hard. Of course, you can't play them all. You can't do them all. But I felt like this was pretty important. This one was pretty important. You know, the country is so divided right now, so I felt like it was really good of Tucker to ask this question of Trump.
Open borders. The first thing I would do would be I would seal up the border good and tight, except for people that want to come in legally.
Do you think we're moving towards civil war?
There's tremendous passion and there's tremendous love. You know, January 6th was a very interesting day because they don't report it properly. I believe it was the largest crowd I've ever spoken before. And you know some of the crowds I've spoken before. And like July 4th on the mall, I think they had 1 million people there. But I think that the biggest crowd I've ever spoken before was on January 6th. And people that were in that crowd, a very, very small group of people, and we said patriotically and peacefully and patriotically, right? Nobody ever says that. Go peacefully and patriotically. But people that were in that crowd that day, very small group of people, went down there, and then there are a lot of scenarios that we can talk about. But people in that crowd said it was the most beautiful day they've ever experienced. There was love in that crowd. There was love and unity. I have never seen such spirit and such passion and such love. And I've also never seen simultaneously and from the same people such hatred of what they've done to our country.
So do you think it's possible that there's open conflict? We seem to be moving towards something.
I don't know, because I don't know what it, you know, I can say this. There's a level of passion that I've never seen. There's a level of hatred that I've never seen, and that's probably a bad combination.
Yeah, I think he's right. Things are getting pretty divisive in this country, and yeah, it's just, I guess maybe one of the issues is that so many more people are talking about politics than they ever used to. I hear that from the older crowd. They say, we didn't used to talk about politics like this. Like, it's just very out in the open now. And I'll even like see in my own life, I could bring up this topic or somebody could say something stupid and I could argue against it. And I probably just shouldn't. I should just be quiet and not discuss it just to keep the peace. It's tough. It's tough. But yeah, you don't want this. Like, I don't think we need a civil war. It's too ugly. But I think it's wise of Tucker to ask the hard questions. And some people could criticize him for doing so, but he's analyzing our country and seeing what's happening. So, yeah, like I told you guys, I'm not going to play all the clips. There's just too much. He did talk about who he would prefer to run against for the presidency. His answer is Biden. He talked about Chris Wallace a little bit. They made some jabs about him. That was very funny. He asked him about Epstein. Did Jeffrey Epstein kill himself? And Trump basically is just like, I don't know, is what he's saying. And then he did talk about Pence and, just that, okay, well, you said that you couldn't, send the votes back to the states, but then later on in Congress, they started changing the rules to make that impossible. If that was the case, was it really impossible for you to send the votes back to the states? Because they just made rules stopping you from being able to do so after the fact. Very good question. And then, he talked about China and Cuba. Yeah, because China's apparently really getting comfortable in Cuba, which is very close to the States. It's a little uncomfortable. So I don't like it, at least. Maybe you do, but I don't like it. Very good conversation. I think for him being involved in the debate, and they actually played this conversation with Tucker a little bit before the debate started. For him not to be involved in the debate, I think he was very smart to do this conversation with Tucker, and it got millions and millions of views. Now, there's a difference between interactions with the video and the actual legitimate views, but gosh, regardless, it was in the millions, and so did super well, and shows you that people still do have an interest in Trump. And I think Trump is one of the few candidates as well that can pull from the other party. There are some Democrats that chose to support Trump, so it's very awesome. Okay, let's go to a Bible verse or verses. Honestly, I don't know why I keep on saying verse. Let's just read the Bible from beginning to end. Do you mind? Do you mind? Job 23, verse 8. He's appealing to God right now. Talking about appealing to God. Look, I go forward, but he is not there, and backwards, but I cannot perceive him. When he works on the left hand, I cannot behold him. When he turns to the right hand, I cannot see him. But he knows the way that I take. When he has tested me, I shall come forth as gold. My foot has held fast to his steps. I have kept his way and not turned aside. I have not departed from the commandment of his lips. I have treasured the words of his mouth more than my necessary food. Well, that's very good right there. Treasuring the words of his mouth more than necessary food. That is the difficulty of God, isn't it? That he's not just so present, so visible. We can discern God. We know that he's there, but it takes faith to do so. And so it does make us seem a little nutty. I felt like God told me. God told you? Really? Through prayer, I felt this. And you just have to call back to the testimonies and the crazy things to continue to have that faith in God. Because guess what? God's not going to just make it so easy for you. If you want relationship with somebody, you have to really invest. Like if you want to be best friends with me, guess what? You're probably going to have to ask me to spend time with you. I'll do the same. You'll probably have to get me a gift occasionally, or several, or very expensive gifts, whatever. You're going to have to listen to me talk about my life and do those kind of things. You may not want to do those things. You may have to watch movies that you didn't want to watch because I wanted to watch them. There's things that you do in pursuit of being a friend with me, which would be the best choice you will ever make. So if that's the case just with me, just a frail little girl, human being, whatever, wouldn't that be the case with God, pursuing a relationship with him? Wouldn't it be a little bit harder? But it's so worth it. And it's the only thing that matters. And it fills that hole in our heart. It totally does. So we can't perceive him. You can't behold him. You cannot see him. But we know he's there. And we can hold fast to that. And he has commands that we can follow. And we're so blessed to have the Bible just right in front of our face, easily accessible on the internet and everything else. We're so blessed to be able to do that. And so that we can feed on his word. We can have constant interaction with that. And for the people that just don't even want to read their Bible, who are believers in everything else. I think that's a huge mistake. You need to do so. Yeah, it like literally as I'm saying necessary food, I'm like getting hungry. My stomach is rumbling. So, and I'm just like, shh, quiet. I'm serious. Quit speaking unless spoken to. It literally did another like as I said that. A very frustrating, disobedient little baby tummy, but that's okay. Good verses. Yeah. Job is so interesting. It's so interesting. And like I have trouble really understanding it, but as I read it like more and more, I read it every year, I'm just like, and you get this from it that you didn't get before. You get that from it that you didn't get before. You guys are awesome for listening to me. I hope you learned a little bit about that Trump and Tucker conversation and the implications of the Republican debate. And there's going to be another one, I think, in about a month. So it's coming up. It's happening. Things are changing in the world. Stay safe out there. If somebody punches you, seriously, just run away. Just run as fast as you can. And don't let them punch you again, or that kind of shows a little bit about you. Like, are you weak? Are you pathetic? Are you looking for a fight? I don't know. But you're not weak and pathetic. You're awesome. Especially because you listen to this show. So, I got my feelings. All right, you guys have a great and wonderful day.